We did it with the running backs. We did it with the wide receivers. Now it's time to break into the top 6 quarterbacks for 2022 and beyond. We're doing both redraft and dynasty. And not a lot is going to change. Again, we talk about this with the running back rankings and the wide receiver rankings, the changing of the guard. Dynasty rankings and redraft rankings are not that different right now in today's fantasy football, with these young wide receivers being top 5 guys like Jamar Chase or Jefferson last year. Najee Harris being a top 5 guy this year. Rookies coming in can be top 5. It won't always happen with wide receivers. Running backs always have a little bit of an edge of being effective right out of the gate, but wide receivers are a changing. We're breaking into the top 6 quarterbacks for redraft dynasty 2022 and beyond. The Fantasy Football Show
begins now.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Let's kick it off with dynasty rankings, and then we'll dip back and forth. I think we'll jump back and forth because it's relevant to talk about both, and I think it gives you context as to how I feel about a player. If I like them for the long term so much, that helps you know that I'm very confident in them for the now. Because if I believe in a guy 2 years from now, you're gonna have more confidence about what I'm saying right now. Number one's pretty easy. He finished number 1 in fantasy football quarterback scoring in 2021, Josh Allen. He's only going to get better. As he gets better in cold weather, he'll only separate himself from the mid-range quarterbacks even further. But I'm going to say it right now. I like Burrow. I like Mahomes. I like Herbert. Where's Herbert? Herbert's hiding back here somewhere. Herbert, I like these guys near as much as Allen. This will be a year where ADP does dictate where I take my early quarterback, because we know Smitty. Hey, Smitty. Smitty's an early quarterback drafter. Smitty. I'm so often coined the early quarterback drafter because I support drafting quarterbacks in the mid-range area. Mid-range being 3rd, late 3rd, early 4th round. If that's early quarterback drafting, guilty as charged. Take me away. I'll take a quarterback like Burrow in round 4 or 5 all day long. I don't care if Lamar falls to 6 or 7, or if Rodgers, who I do like, falls to round 6 or 7. I'll make up for whatever hole I put myself in by drafting a quarterback like Burrow, who can lead the league in fantasy football scoring, or Allen, or Mahomes, or Herbert. You're darn right I'm an early quarterback drafter. I do like to rephrase what we're doing. Let's call it middle round quarterback drafting. Early quarterback drafting, that's got a negative spin to it. People think, oh, I've heard about this. You got to stay away from it. Let's start calling it what it is. Early quarterback drafting used to be round 1. And yes, for those of you that were in diapers when this happened 15 years ago, Kurt Warner was like the number 1 overall pick. Dante Culpepper, number 1 or number 2 overall pick. Peyton Manning, 1, 2, or 3 overall. This is when you threw for 45 touchdowns and you were gold ranked against the other quarterbacks, because no other quarterback was going near that amount of touchdowns. The NFL has evolved. It's a different NFL now. You can have multiple 40 TD quarterbacks, especially with the extra game. 50 TDs would be today's equivalent to a 40 TD passer back in the day. And yet, when Mahomes or Allen or Burrow or Herbert has the ability to be a 50 TD quarterback, and don't at me, they do. I'm not saying all of them could be 50 TD quarterbacks in one season. I'm saying one of them each year has the potential of being a 48, 47, 50 TD quarterback, especially Allen, when he could throw for 43 or 4 and then run for 6 more touchdowns on the ground. So check yourself at the front door if you're going to come in and go, no one scored 50 TD, Smitty. Smitty said 5 quarterbacks are scoring 50 touchdowns in 2022. I said nothing of the sort, Bob. I'm merely saying one at least of these 4 quarterbacks, Herbert, Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, they all have the potential, not at once, but the potential to be a 45 to 50 touchdown quarterback, sum total touchdown quarterback. So you're darn right, 1 or 2 of these guys is worth a late 3rd rounder and 4th round pick. And honestly, I don't think any one of them is going to go in round 2, given the temperature of quarterbacks out there in fantasy football land right now. I can tell you right now, they should go in round 2. Hey, Smitty, did you just say to take a quarterback in round 2? Smitty just said take a quarterback in round 2. No, Bob, but what I'm saying is the market should be demanding from you that you've got to spend a second-round pick on a 50 TD quarterback. But the great news is you don't have to.
I repeat.
But the great news is you don't have to. Anybody drafting a quarterback in round 2 is not taking advantage of ADP data and what everybody's doing out there in fantasy football land. We get the luxury in today's scared of drafting quarterbacks because of all the crazy noise out there. Regurgitated analysts out there going, hey, don't take a quarterback early.
Have you ever heard of robust running back?
There is a certain age-defying calculation.
That blah, 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 blah.
The fear that's striking across fantasy football content creation is making it laughable. You're a laughing stock if you take a quarterback early. This is actually very good for every one of us that believes that a 45 to 50 TD quarterback is lurking in these big four: Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, Burrow. It's great news for us that the world is scared to take quarterbacks because of the ridicule that will ensue if you do. So clean up, enjoy, make sure you do not reach on quarterbacks. You do not have to. You should be forced to, but you do not have to. And we get to grab our guys in the 3rd and 4th and 5th round. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
So Allen's number 1, Dynasty redraft doesn't matter. I'm going to put Dynasty and redraft lit up down here because I think for the most part in the beginning, it's going to be the same across Dynasty and redraft. So I want both indicating that this is equivalent for both settings. So Mahomes is going number 2. Allen, Mahomes, Allen, you could kind of flip those if you want. No one's going to take a lap on having one over the other. Herbert, Burrow, you could argue as well. No one's taking laps on their order of any of these top 4 quarterbacks. If someone has Herbert number 1, I commend them. If somebody's got Burrow number 1, I commend them. Someone has Mahomes 1, Allen 2, Burrow 3, Herbert 4, I commend you. Do you stop worrying about what other people think? These 4 quarterbacks are so close, and any one of them has the capability of beating the other 3 out. Any one of them has the capability of beating the other 3 quarterbacks out. I personally have Burrow, Dynasty redraft, doesn't matter, as my number 3 overall quarterback. Again, I have Dynasty lit up and redraft down here to indicate that this ranking is the same for me right now. Nothing's changing. And I don't know that my top 6 will. This might be weird that my Dynasty redraft content for this piece is going to be the same across both. I'm speaking to Dynasty Bob and I'm speaking to redraft Bill at the same time. Burrow could score 45 touchdowns in 2022. Burrow could throw 4,800 yards. 5,000 yards. Wouldn't shock me at all in 2022. Burrow is in GOAT training. Burrow, you're Smitty approved, pal. We got the fireplace off. Hold on. There, I had to turn the fireplace on. Burrow, you're Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty approved.
I love Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is my favorite personality in the NFL right now, in football, in fantasy football. I love the way this man carries himself. He is a GOAT in training. He's charismatic. He's got the Brady factor. And for anybody saying, did he just call him Brady?
You can't call him
a rising star like
that, Smitty. What do you think you're doing?
What do you think? You have a prediction show that you could just start making claims about
things in the future?
I love it. I love when people come at my neck and say, Smitty, when I said that the Bengals were going to win the division, people came at my neck. They can't win the division. Why, Bob?
They just can't. They're the Bengals.
So you're telling me that all teams stay the same from year after year? Players never rise up. We'll never have another Tom Brady-like player. I'm not saying we'll have Tom Brady, but a Tom Brady-like player will never emerge again. Is that what you're telling me, Bob, just because he hasn't emerged yet?
No, but you can't say it until it happens, Smitty.
As if it does anybody any good to predict something after it happens. Look, Burrow's the next Tom Brady potential guy in the NFL. He is Tom Brady in training. Maybe he never gets the rings that Tom Brady has. Maybe he does. Let's not act like records aren't made to be broken eventually. This guy's got Jamar Chase. He has T. Higgins. He has Joseph Mixon for right now. who I admit played so much better than I gave him credit for walking into 2021. This offense is looking phenomenal. The offensive line will get better. The front seven's fine. They got to do some work on the O-line and the secondary in the offseason, but they will do that. I think they make it to the Super Bowl. And if they don't, they're a work in progress. They're going to get better. Mahomes, we know what Mahomes is. Allen, we know what Allen is. Burrow's the one player so far on the list that has the capability of being the top guy, and I'm not afraid to go after him as my top quarterback potential option because I can get him a lot cheaper. I would prefer to go get Burrow in 2022. I'll probably draft more Burrow than I draft either Allen or Mahomes. That's because Allen and Mahomes will probably go a round or two earlier. Maybe not in August. Maybe people get completely on board. Maybe the Bengals win the Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl and everybody's ultra hyped even more than they are right now about Burrow, and then he goes like in the third round. Maybe he goes right next to Allen and Mahomes or even before Allen and Mahomes. Who knows? It depends on the playoffs. If they get bumped out right away, if Burrow has a bad game or a mediocre game or one good game and one mediocre game, then I don't know that anything changes from right now until draft day or August or kickoff of week 1. But if Burrow gets better from this moment that I'm creating this video walking into the playoffs, the wildcard weekend has not happened yet as of the recording of this video. Anything can happen. Burrow's value could double between now and then. It all depends on how he does. But Jamar Chase and Burrow is a connection. The best stack in fantasy football, a stack I'm going after at every turn, a stack that might cost you a late first rounder or mid first rounder in the cost of Jamar Chase, a fourth round pick, maybe a fifth rounder if we get lucky, in Joseph Burrow. You're talking about the best stack in fantasy football using only your first round pick and let's say your fourth or fifth round pick. Absolutely love it. To get Tyreek Hill and Mahomes, you'd have to spend a second and a third rounder. You can get this one with a first and a fourth or a first and a fifth. Give it to me all day long. Herbie in Dynasty or in redraft. Again, I'm indicating both on screen because nothing's changing for me yet. Herbie goes number 4 overall in my book for quarterbacks 2022 and beyond. He doesn't have the wide receivers that Joe Burrow has. I like Keenan Allen. I like Josh Palmer a lot, but they're not Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And even though he has Eckler, which is an upgrade over Mixon, it's not that crazy of an upgrade over Mixon. So Herbert doesn't have as good a weapons as Burrow has. So for me, even though Herbert is also a GOAT in training, Burrow's got a little bit of an edge, and you can't pry that edge away from him. You cannot separate situation from talent. Player and situation are one. Burrow has the best offense probably in the NFL in the coming years. And here's where Dynasty and redraft could separate a little bit. Maybe not. All these guys have potential of being the number 5. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, where's he playing? You guys know my prediction. He's going to Pittsburgh or he's going to Denver. And that kind of value in redraft. So we're going to get rid of Dynasty. So we're just going to talk redraft for a minute because I think these values could be different. But if we send Rodgers to Denver or to Pittsburgh, especially Pittsburgh, he's top 5. He's number 5 in 2022 redraft. Murray's still close behind. Brady's kind of right around there, but guess who's kind of getting in the conversation for me? Trey Lance. Trey Lance is kind of around the 6 to 8 range for me. Lamar's disappointed me one year after the other. I'm not buying into Lamar. He could play half of a year like an elite top 2 to 3 quarterback, but then play like garbage for another half of a season. He's done it too many times. I'm not buying into him. I'd rank him around the end of this group, but I'm not going to put him over in the conversation. In redraft, I'm not even considering it. In Dynasty, I won't either. I don't mean to spoil it for you, but there are too many good names already stacked right here in waiting. I'm not putting Lamar. Lamar, you are over here. Lamar, you're not Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
You've disappointed us way too many times to be in this conversation. Same thing with Russell Wilson. Same thing with Dak. You guys are good. You have the potential to be top 6 to 10 quarterbacks, no question. That's why I put you on the screen. But you can't contend with this group over here in redraft. I'm sorry. Jalen Hurts is going to dance around this value. We'll put him in the corner of this group. He's definitely not in the top 5 conversation. He's just kind of in that limbo area between 6 and 10. Watson, I mean, it depends on what's going on with Watson. Could he be over here? Could he be number 6, 5? Sure. Could he not play football in 2022? Yeah. We don't know what's going on with him. We don't know if a team's going to give up enough to get him. The Texans clearly don't want to use him. Teams are afraid to trade for him because his cases are still pending. 20 plus cases need to be resolved before this guy's probably playing football. It's not one case. It's consolidated to get things speeding along, but it's not a class action where it's one ruling. It's 20 separate cases where 20 different people have to agree to settle. It's a mess. So for right now, Watson's over here. Potential to be over here, no question about it. But right now, we can't talk about him at redraft being in the top 5 or top 6. If I had to pick right now, let's spread them out and look at them. You know what I'm probably going to do? I'm putting Kyler here at 6. We'll rank him up here. I'll put Trey Lance at 7. At me. Just wait. Maybe Shanahan ruins my day in 2022. Wouldn't shock me. We'll put Jalen Hurts right here. We'll put Brady. He's getting older right here. And we could even put Brady over here. But Brady's probably at the end of that group. If I had to swap Brady out for anybody, I guess I'd put Dak over here, but Dak can be so hit and miss. I think his finish in the playoffs will really determine whether he ranks here or stays over here in a lot of people's minds. And if Russell Wilson goes to Denver or to Pittsburgh, then you're going to put him over here. You might even put him like right here with Murray at that 6th spot if he is in Pittsburgh. So his situation changing could really determine where you put him. If we flip to dynasty mode, and again, 1 through 4, same across redraft and dynasty. We're going to dynasty mode because now we got to take A-Rod out of here. If it's me, I'm going Murray here, and I'm going Trey Lance number 6. I think Aaron Rodgers, 1 to 2 years is still a long time. I think you contemplate taking him as a 6 to 8 quarterback in Dynasty only because he can give you elite numbers for even 1 year. Sometimes in Dynasty, you need to have some now players and some future players, a good mix in order to win a championship. You can't just keep getting guys that are 21 and 22 years old. And all these guys, Lamar, Watson, Dak, Brady, Wilson, Hurts is the youngest one, so Hurts would probably go up above. Maybe Lamar because he's still younger, Rodgers, Wilson, or you could put Dak in the middle there, Rodgers, and then go Wilson. And then Watson, if his situation changed, would probably be right around, 6 to 7. So stop saying, where are you putting Watson, Smitty? Like I said, 6 or 7, depending on what happens with his situation. Note that guys like Zach Wilson and Lawrence and other quarterbacks, Mac Jones, whatever, those guys are going to be talked about in that 7 to 15 range. And it depends how they finish in the playoffs, how they look in the offseason. I'm not saying that Wilson shouldn't be considered, Zach Wilson, anywhere near the 7 to 15 in Dynasty. Redraft, of course not, but we gotta get closer to seeing the production before we start putting them in the top 6. Again, if I left somebody off, it wasn't because I don't like them. It's because I don't consider them top 6 conversation. This was strictly a top 6 quarterback ranking video. That's why you saw some promising guys not listed. This may not jive with your exact rankings, but I do want to hear what you have to say below. And it's all arguable. And all of it is arguable. Don't be shy. Be respectful to everybody else's rankings. No one knows what's really going to happen yet. But this is how I kind of take a look at these top 6 to 10 quarterbacks walking into 2022 and beyond. Hit subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button no matter what. Tell your grandma about the show. Tell everybody you know. We're taking over 2022. And get on over to sleeperu.com. Get your lifetime membership. Never pay for content again after you buy that membership. And if you get the highest level lifetime membership, it comes with my text line where you and I can text back and forth, on-demand texting, and we can be like, yeah, make the trade. Yes, Miss Smitty, I'm out getting milk right now. Do the trade.
You got this, bro.
Bob, make the trade. Do it now. That's how I roll. I roll with you. Let's tear up 2022. Now get out of here.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.